Hi, this is Vanessa with Designs by Vanessa. Today's tutorial is on the knit seed stitch. I will be knitting this tutorial in the Continental style. If you prefer to watch the demonstration in the traditional English style, please check out my video. I have a separate tutorial for knitting in the English style. I am using a pair of US 15 10mm handmade needles. These are from Art of Siberia. And I will go ahead and leave a link in the description box if you want to purchase these from his Etsy shop. Okay, so grab your yarn and let's get started. I am going to be using super bulky weight yarn. This is Knit Picks wool, and you want to start with a slip knot. Okay, so I'm going to cast on 11 stitches, but you can cast on any odd number of stitches. And I'm using the long tail cast on method. I do have tutorials on this method in a slower demonstration. I'll go ahead and link that in the corner. So this first stitch here is your slip knot, and it counts as your first stitch. So don't forget to include your slip knot in your count. And don't pull on your stitches too tight. You want the yarn to slide comfortably on your needles. So you want it a little loose so that you can get your needles in when you're working your first row. Okay, so I have 11 stitches. See how it slides back and forth nicely? Okay, so let me count 9, 10, 11. So for your first row, you want to knit the first stitch, and then you want to repeat all the way to the end, purl 1 and knit 1. Okay, so you're basically alternating a purl and a knit stitch. You start with the knit stitch and you knit purl all the way to the end, and you end with a knit stitch. Oops, that kind of slid off. Okay, just remember that your yarn is in the front for purling and yarn in the back for knitting. And I find that working Continental style, it's a lot quicker as far as not having to stop and throw your yarn. You're pretty much picking it up, sort of. All right, so knit your last stitch. Okay, so now let's take a look. I wanted to show you what the purl stitches look like. So right here and here and every other stitch across. So it has a strand of yarn that goes across of the stitch, and it has a bump basically, and that's what makes the seed texture. So this first one is a purl stitch. So now you want to repeat row 1. So you want to knit the first stitch, knit, and then basically the same as row 1, purl, knit, and purl. And the reason why I showed you what the purl stitches look like is because if you ever get lost, say you had to step away and you came back and you don't remember what you just worked, that's a way to find your stitches. So from now on, you want to knit the purl stitches, and then you want to purl the knit stitches. So if you see a bump, you want to knit. If you don't see a bump, then you want to purl that stitch. I hope that makes sense. So if you look here, See how the bumps from the first row and then the second row, the bumps are in between, so they're staggered. Okay, but as long as you repeat row 1 with the knit 1 and then purl 1 alternating to the end, you should be fine. So I'll go ahead and work one more row, and then I'll show you what it looks like. Okay, so that was it. Pretty much you just keep repeating row 1 until you have the size you like. And if you take a look, you can see the little purl stitches creating the seed texture, and they're sort of alternating and staggered, and it creates this beautiful texture. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe if you enjoy my videos.